Okay, hello and greetings everyone. I'm doing a book review for you today, two books. One I'll start with is by an author named Mark Cohen, and you can find his book inside Zhuang. It's spelled Z-H-A-N space Z-H-U-A-N-G, which is like the traditional term for standing Qigong, standing meditation. So if you have been in one of my classes or are familiar with it, we do a little bit of it every class. This is a cat. So I want to read you an excerpt from it. No, this is very important, and then I'll give a review of the kind of an introduction to another book, and the cat will also contribute. So, standing's linked with Tai Chi. A secret hides in plain sight. What secret? At Zhuang's most basic stance, the Wuji posture is embedded in all Tai Chi styles. The answer lies in the very beginning of the Tai Chi form, just prior to commencement. What are we doing then? Probably standing with our feet parallel, somewhere between shoulder and hip width, depending on the style. And there it is, one of the biggest secrets of Tai Chi, hiding in plain sight. The truth is, the original Tai Chi lineage practice contained Zhuang training. The practitioners of old often stood in the Wuji posture, arms resting at their sides, just as they are prior to commencement, for an hour or more before beginning their form repetitions. So for the serious practitioner, it is important to incorporate Zhuang as a fundamental part of the Tai Chi curriculum. This becomes apparent when we examine the example of Yang Chengfu. Yang was taught Zhuang by his father and uncle, but only showed it to a handful of people. Why? Because Zhuang generates, activates, and enhances the engine that effectively drives the qi flow during Tai Chi practice. In other words, when Yang showed someone standing meditation, he knew they could potentially develop genuine internal power. No wonder he was so reticent in imparting it. My own experience in this regard may shed some more light. When I was just starting out, I found a knowledgeable teacher, and after he saw me execute the form, he said something like, "Oh, you have the external. Now all I have to do is teach you Tai Chi." This felt a little insulting at the time, what with my solid martial arts background and all, but I would come to know the truth of what he had proclaimed. What the Sifu was saying was that my form looked okay on the outside, but there was nothing going on the inside, under the skin. It took me many years to subconsciously internalize all the various elements, but it wasn't until Zhuang came into the mix that the sayings in the Tai Chi classics began to manifest. The body is like a car and the Qi is the fuel. The trouble with most people at the beginning is that their car only has a frame and an outer body, but lacks a good engine. By engine, I mean the mechanism that most efficiently and abundantly transports the qi in order to facilitate the smooth running of all the body's physical and energetic systems. In terms of linkage, Zhuang is the yin to Tai Chi's yang. In Zhuang, we stand still and things move on the inside. In Tai Chi, we aim for stillness while in movement. Together, the two create the complete package, both for health as well as for internal martial arts power. I'll leave it there. Anyways, it's a book about yay thick. It's a good book. You still need to go to a class with a real teacher to take lessons, preferably to get hands-on work so that they can like point out to you, oh, you haven't released here, you're not full here, you're deficient here. And that's just part of any kind of education process where you're paying someone to be like, you need to do more work here, you need to do homework here. So that's like a really good introduction to like the kind of culture and the technology that we're not really familiar with here in the West yet. So the second book that I think that you should get in conjunction with that, I'm actually going to make these required readings, or at least part excerpts from these for my classes now, because Westerners and teachers of different kinds come into my class, yoga, people that have done Thai Buddhist meditation for decades and been on expensive retreats for, a long time, for many decades, still don't have anything going on in the inside. They're not mindful of what's going on in the inside. No one's perfect, but you do have to start somewhere. So, anyways, second book is by Mark Rasmus. So when you come into a class, all the teachings, it's not just the teachings I've accumulated through my travels and study elsewhere. Most of it is from the teacher Mark Rasmus, which you can find thousands of free videos on YouTube in conjunction with the stuff that we do in class. If you need guided practice during the week, you can look up, whole body core breathing, building the ball Qigong, what do we do here? You should have it on video, what we do in class and in notes, but Mark has kindly donated his energy and time to be available for all these students. So we work on Mark's material, basically. Yeah. And the book is called Backdoor into Hermetics, a guide, so Backdoor into Hermetics, basically. I don't know if you can see it. By Mark Rasmus and Jake Sen, one of Mark's students. It's really good. There's stuff in Tai Chi. A lot of people, Tai Chi is like a big thing around the world, but it's really deep, like any art, like music or classical music or jazz music. It can get really, really complex and deep. And it's really good when someone like Mark and both Marks have done a lot of training and a lot of work to translate what we might not be able to get or figure out or translate on our own, because we have obligations to family, to our communities, and different, life happens, and there are people that are just like, that's their whole life path is to help people, so they get really deeply into one thing to help other people. So really grateful for that. And if you find a training group or a teacher that is able to kind of provide that service and provide that depth of knowledge and teaching, when you have like obligations and stuff, and they're willing to like help you out, kind of maybe a wise idea to show up to class and stuff. So anyways, so if you're new to Tai Chi, there's going to be some good stuff, but it's going to be really good for people that are intermediate or advanced or coming from different systems that know that they're missing something. They know they've been training Reiki, or Reiki masters already, or have been doing Buddhist meditation, and working with sanghas for a long time, but they know in their heart of hearts that something's missing, that the depth of work and isn't at the level that they want to get to level up, and but it does take a sincerity and a kind of courage to be able to approach this kind of work, because it's pretty quantum. It's like upgrading your software majorly, and with that comes that change. There's a lot of old software, a lot of old conditioning and beliefs to let go of in order to move forward with whatever you want to do, and that could be said in any area of life. And I just had bone broth beef, so my cat is smelling the bone broth and beef. So those are 2 book recommendations. Thanks for sticking with me. So for my students, as always, daily practice of building the ball, the song bones, the loosening exercises, the power stretching, and the standing.